Hey, today we're going to be learning all about the skeletal system. So I want you to think for a second about the skeletal system, and I want you to think about what is the purpose of it? Why do we even need a skeletal system? And I want you to think of what your body would be like if you didn't have a skeletal system. Now, pause for a second and give me some answers as to what you think the purpose of it is, okay? We're going to get to the function in just a minute, but the skeletal system is your system that's formed from your bones, okay? You can see I've got a little friend over here. I can call him Bob Jr. because we already got Bob, but as you can see right now, all he's got is a backbone. And so this backbone, if you look at it, it starts all the way up at the skull with your atlas and your axis. Those are the essentially the bones that hold up your skull. And then from there, you've got some neck bones, and then you start into your backbones. And actually, I probably got a little lower on him than it should be. But think about what your body would be like if you didn't have that backbone, okay? One of the major functions of your body or of your skeletal system is to support you and to provide you with movement, okay? So your vertebrae back there, those bones of your backbone, those help to hold up your body. Think about your arm for a second, right? Imagine how useful your arm would be if it was like cooked spaghetti instead of being straight with these bones, right? Would that be useful? Would that be helpful for you to have a cooked spaghetti wobbly bone? No, it wouldn't. So the rigidity of your bones provides you with the structure and the support that our bodies need. So we're going to start today, and we're going to start with the skeletal system in your notes, okay? So you should have your book out here, and we're going to start just sort of filling it in and talking as we go. So the skeletal system is the body system formed by your bones. That's pretty simple enough. And anything that is essentially a bone or a part of your cartilage is going to be a part of your skeletal system. Now, the skeletal system has four main functions, okay? The first we've talked about a lot already, which is support and movement. Without our bones, we would just be a big blob on the floor, right? Our brain wouldn't be protected. Our eyeballs wouldn't have any place to sit. You wouldn't have anything to pick up or whatnot. Everything would just be a big blob on the floor. Okay. Another thing that it does is provide protection. So I'm going to add on to our skeleton right now, and I'm going to add on with some ribs. Okay. So connected to all these different vertebrae here are ribs, and we're just going to tape that on here. Okay. Now you can see our little friend Bob has ribs. Those are the back ribs. Okay. So if you feel your body, there are ribs in the back and there are ribs in the front. Okay. So these are the back ribs here. Ooh, sorry, it's a little more complicated than I thought. Okay. And then this here is your front. Okay. These are the front ribs, and they connect right like this. Now, why do you suppose you have ribs that kind of connect and come out like this? Okay. Well, that's because there are some really important structures in between these rib bones. And so that's some of the lessons we're going to learn in the future, is what type of organs are found inside your rib cage and why they matter. But this rib cage, one of the functions of it is to provide protection. Okay? Think of your skull, right? In 6th grade, we learned how your skull protects your brain from injury, right? If you were to fall and hurt yourself, your skull and your cerebrospinal fluid help to cushion your brain from injury. Okay? Another thing that bones are used for is for mineral storage. So in your bones, you might think your bones are actually not living, and it's sort of true, sort of isn't true, okay? There are living cells inside your bones. There's also calcium deposits, which are not living, but your bones are actually alive, okay? And one of the things that they have is minerals in them. I just mentioned calcium, right? Calcium is a really important mineral for your bones. And if you don't eat enough calcium in your diet, then you know what your body's going to do? It's going to take calcium from your bones. And we don't want that, because the calcium provides strength for our bones. Okay. And so it's really important that you're eating the right diet in order to make sure that you're providing for your bones. Okay. The fourth thing that it does is blood cell production. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But your bones actually help to make your blood cells. Okay, so next on our list there is a picture of a bone, and it kind of has all the different parts of a bone. And so it looks like this in your textbook, okay? Right there. So that bone there, we're going to just kind of go over the different layers. The most outer layer is what we call the periosteum. The periosteum is a tough white tissue, and it essentially just provides protection for those bones, okay? Then the ends in the center of your bones are made of spongy bones, okay? Now, spongy bones have a little bit of cushion to them, okay? They're not completely spongy, but they're still very, very hard, but they do have a little bit of cushion in them, okay? And so that's the ends and the center of your bone, okay? It shows it right there in the picture. That right there is your spongy. And see how it's got sort of hollow pockets in it? And then the mature bones are made of compact bone. And compact bone is just going to be kind of sort of what's on the outer side here. It's thicker. It's not as porous. Okay. And then the osteons are the circular layers created by the living cells. Now, I would have gone into all of that into way more detail at school. For now, just know that there's the periosteum, which is the outer covering. No, the spongy bone is where it's on the ends and in the center. And then the compact bone is for more mature, like the mature, and it's like, it's got like smaller channels and things for stuff to go through. So it's a little bit harder than the spongy bone, okay? All right, moving to the next page. This is really important, this next part, okay? It's still on page 273 in your notes. But the marrow center, or the marrow cavity, in the spaces of the spongy bones are filled with a substance called bone marrow. Now, bone marrow, there are two types. There's red and yellow. And red bone marrow actually helps to produce your red blood cells. Okay, and so it's really important that your bones stay healthy and strong because they are helping to make your new blood cells. Okay, the yellow bone marrow is a little bit more fatty. It's primarily made of fat. So just know that inside your long bones, and we're going to talk about what long bones are in a second, but think of your femur and your humerus. Those are the places where this blood is being created. Okay. Another structure you need to know, we've talked about this before, is your cartilage, right? You feel your nose, you squeeze your ears, wiggle them around, do that. All of that weird sort of spongy feeling, that's your cartilage, okay? Cartilage is connective tissue that has less calcium, so it's not as rigid as bones are, okay? And that's why you can like do this to your nose and wiggle your ear, because it has more flexibility. And we talked about this when we talked about cartilaginous fish, right? How they are a little bit more flexible than a bony fish would be, okay? Young people, you guys, if you've ever been injured as a kid in regards to like maybe one of your fingers or an arm, or you've broken some bone, you've probably gone to see the doctor because they want to check, well, obviously you broke your bones, first of all, probably should go to the doctor. Second of all, you want to check the growth plates, because growth plates they're made out of cartilage and they kind of connect certain tissues. So when you're born as a baby, you have a lot more bones than when you are an adult, because what ends up happening as you grow is your bones start to fuse together, and then you have less bones, right? Because these 5 bones, or let's say this is one bone and this bone, these 2 bones fused and came together, and now we have 1 bone instead of 2. Okay. So cartilage is kind of the growth plates. It sort of connects those places until they can connect together for themselves. I was going to say something else about that. What was it? It's gone. All right. Growth plates. Oh, I was going to tell you how many bones there are in your body. Anyone guesses? There are, in an adult's body, 206 bones, quite a bit. All right, where 2 bones meet is called a joint, okay? Think of your elbow, right? Without this section here having If this was just one long bone, right? That would be a little bit hard to, you know, pick things up and bring things. I couldn't bring things to my mouth, right? Because it's one long bone. But God designed us with an elbow, okay? He broke up it into 3 bones, your humerus, your ulna, and your radius, connected by your elbow, okay? And so your elbow is a joint, okay? And it's a place where 2 or more bones meet. Now, what holds the 2 bones together is a ligament. And ligaments, we talked about tendons, remember? If tendons connect, muscles to bones. Ligaments, they're very similar. They're tough tissues that connect bone to bone, okay? Now, most joints are movable, right? My elbows, my hips, my neck, those are all joints, okay? And I can move them. Now, there are a couple joints that aren't, okay? And we call those immovable joints, and that would be like your skull or your teeth, and your teeth don't move, right? They have an immovable, they are movable joints. Okay, 2 more things real quick. There are 2 parts to your skeleton, okay? The first part, I'm going to back up over here again, is your axial skeleton. It is going to include your, pretty much from your neck to your waist, okay? All of this part here, this is your axial skeleton, okay? From there you have your appendicular skeleton, okay? And that's going to be all your appendages. So your fingers, your arms, your legs, okay? Those are your appendages, and so therefore they are a part of your appendicular, sorry, I lost my train of thought, your appendicular skeleton. There are 4 main types of bones, and those are on, actually they're not on your notes, so this is sort of an extra freebie I was going to go over with you in class. But they are long bones, short bones, flat bones, and irregular bones. I'm going to say that again. Long bones. These are anything that is longer than it is wider, okay? So your arms, obviously, they are longer than they are, those bones are longer than they are wider, your leg bones. But your finger bones, the phalanges, these are actually long bones too, even though they're really short bones. They're still longer than they are wider, and because of that, they're considered long bones. Short bones are cube-shaped like the bones in your wrist and your ankle. There's like 8 different bones in here, and so that's kind of cool. And they're all kind of cube-shaped. Those are your short bones. Flat bones would be your ribs, okay? Here's your ribs again. These are flatter, and so they're part of your flat bones. And then anything that doesn't fit one of those 3 categories, we put in the irregular group. So they're usually kind of different shaped. So these guys over here, this is your vertebrae, okay? Each one of these little cubes here, those are a part of your vertebrae, and in between them is a little soft, spongy thing that has to do with your nervous system, which we'll talk about. But those bones, they're all sort of irregularly shaped. Your sacrum here, the S1, S2, S3, S5, 4, S5, that's your sacrum, and those bones are irregularly shaped, okay? So that's how we classify bones. It's kind of a lot of information thrown at you. The main things I want you to know are going to be what the function of the skeletal system is, the different types, the different parts of the bone, okay? So the different parts of the bone would be the periosteum, the spongy, the compact, the bone marrow, the cartilage, and the joints, okay? And then I'm also going to walk you through the different bones of your body, okay? So if you look in your notebook, there is a picture. It's actually from your activity manual, and we're going to just sort of walk through which numbers are which so that you have the right numbers there. Now, it's also on page 274 in your textbook, so if you get stuck, you can use this picture to help you. And I want you to work on memorizing some of these. I know that's kind of hard. Usually I make the class memorize all 20. So I'm gonna probably have you guys get at least 10 of them down. If you can do all 20, that would be amazing. But let's start with number 1. Number 1 is pretty obvious. It's up here, it's your skull, okay? Your clavicle is your collarbone. If you feel your body right here, you feel this bone that protrudes, that is your clavicle. That the clavicle would be the scientific name. Collarbone is the common name. Then you've got your sternum, which comes down here, okay? This here is your sternum. Then you have in your arms, okay, number 4 is your ulna. If you look at your arms, you can even feel it. You've got two different, oh, it should be on camera. You got two different bones here, okay? There's the one on top and the one on bottom. Now, the one on bottom is your ulna, the one on top is your radius, and they both connect to your humerus, and humerus is number 18. So I'm just skipping ahead, but ulna, radius, humerus, okay? Then from there we have our carpals, okay? Your carpals are your wrist bones. Your metacarpals are your hand bones, and then your fingers are your phalanges. So carpals, metacarpals, phalanges. Now your feet, I'm going to skip ahead to your feet real quick, number 9, because these are very similar to your hands. Instead of carpals though, it's tarsals. So think C is a higher level of the alphabet, or like first in the alphabet, so it's first in your body, like if you're coming down from your head. So think C is your hands, okay, so carpals. And then tarsals are down at the floor because they're lower as you go down the alphabet. And so your tarsals are going to be the exact same way, okay? You've got your ankle bones, right? And then from there you can feel your feet bones, which are your metatarsals. And then, so your tarsals are your ankle bones, your metatarsals are your feet bone, and then your toes are your phalanges, okay? We skip number 8, excuse me. Number 8 is your pelvis, okay? And then we're gonna skip ahead again now, because we did 9, 10, and 11. Now we're gonna do 12, okay? 12, just like in your legs, you also have a top leg and a back leg on your bottom, and then just one solid bone on top, okay? So the bigger of the two bones is your tibia. The smaller bone that's kind of more towards your back is your fibula. So tibia, fibula, okay? And then they are connected to your femur, and your femur is number 15. It's your big leg bone up here, okay? So that there is your femur, all right? Now, in between your femur and your ulna, your tibia and your fibia is your patella, and that's your knee bone, okay? So patella is the knee bone. And then we already talked about the vertebrae, which is number 17, going down. Humerus we talked about. Then you have your ribs is 19, and your scapula is this shoulder bone back here, okay? So that's your scapula. Okay, now that's a lot, but there are a lot of fun games online where you can quiz yourself, and I will provide a couple of those links for you in RenWeb and on the S'more. So if you're interested in checking them out, go ahead and do that. They'll help you just to kind of get these memorized. I know you guys, it may seem like it's like not really something important to you right now, but the more you memorize these bones now, the easier it's going to be when you get to high school. So I'm encouraging you to put forth the effort if you can. So anyways, I'm praying for you all. I love you guys so much. I wish we could see each other and have these lessons in person. I am super bummed to not be teaching this to you guys in person because there's a lot of fun things we could have done. Get on the Zoom tomorrow. We are going to use the computer program I told you about, and I'm going to show you some cool things on that. Okay? I love you guys. I miss you. Talk to you later.